Okay, so today we're going to be looking at JSON, how to write JSON, how to parse JSON, and also how to aggregate JSON. So this is really a basic introduction to working with Integromat with JSON. Now, the first thing that you need to understand with JSON is what is it and how do you write it, how do you read it. Now, one of the easiest ways to do that is to download Visual Code Studio. It's a free code editor software, and it basically allows you to paste in code. It will then read the code and then color it and format it for you to make it easier to read. Now, what we're looking at here is a very basic JSON string. All JSON is a collection of values, and so a collection is always identified in JSON by a curly bracket. And in JSON, you always have an opening and a closing bracket. If you're missing one of those, then the JSON is invalid and it won't process correctly. Another thing with JSON is everything is always separated by a comma. So here we've got what's called a key and a value. Now, the key and value are separated by a colon, and the key value pair separated by a comma. Now, one of the good things in Visual Code Studio and any of the other code apps that you'll use is that they color code things. So we can see here that all of our keys are blue. So name is a key, age is a key, pets is a key, name, type is a key, etc. All of our strings within this JSON string are red. So Mitch is a string, Sam, dog, Phil, fish is a string. All of our numbers are green. And if we were to add in something else like a Boolean, so we'll go male and we'll say male is true. You'll see that our Boolean, which is a true or false, is blue. So all the different data type in JSON will have a different color, which makes it quite easy to make sure that you've got them mapped correctly and that mapping is consistent, and also find things when you need to find them and find errors. Now, if we were to introduce an error into this JSON, say we put a comma here, with a code editor like this, it will then highlight that there's an error in your code. And so you could then go there and you could then figure out, well, okay, something's missing in the code, or I've got something extra in the code. What am I going to do here? And so I'll just fix that error there by adding in the missing information. Could have also fixed it by removing the comma. Anyway, so looking at the data, what we've got here is a key, which is a name, separated by a colon and then followed by a value. Then this is separated by a comma, and then we've got the next key separated by a colon, and then got its value separated by a comma. Then we've got another key, colon, and then we've got what's called an array. Now, an array is a square bracket. So this is our opening bracket, which is a square bracket, and here's our closing square bracket. Now, an array is basically a list of things. It's kind of like if you go to a shopping center and you pick up your basket and you walk down the fruit aisle, you've got a list of fruits to get. You want to get bananas, apples, oranges. In this case, we're getting pets. So we've got a list of pets, and Mitch, the person, has two pets. He has one pet called Sam, one pet called Phil. And the first pet is a dog, the second pet is a fish. So Mitch has within his basket, within his array, he has two pets. Now, each pet has certain values, and these values are contained within a collection, because a pet, for instance, is an item in an array, and an item, because it's got more than one value, it needs to be contained in a collection so that we know when one item starts and one item ends. Now, you can also have a simple array. Now, in this case, a simple array might be, for Mitch, we'll just say hats. And he's going to have a simple array of hats, and the hats are going to be, we'll change it to colors. We're going to have hat of red, a hat of blue, and a hat of green. Right, so that's our simple array of colors. Now, you'll notice here that, yes, we've got an array, but this array does not have collections. And that's because this is a comma-separated list, what's called a simple array. Now, you can get away with using a simple array if you've basically just got a list of things. So instead of going to the store and picking up fruits, you want to get an apple, a banana, and a pear, you may want to get a Granny Smith apple, a yellow banana, and a green pear. So you need to know some more information about those items that you're going to put in the basket. If you just wanted to get an apple, a banana, and a pear, you could put it here in a simple array, because you don't need to know any other information. And that's sort of how that gets processed. Now, that's a JSON string. How do we get that into a data packet that Integromat can read and then process correctly? Well, we'd use the parse JSON module, paste that in here. Now, if we were to just run this scenario, what we'll find as the output of this is our name, and then Mitch is the value, age, which is another key, and then the age of 101, which is a value. And then we've got our first array of pets, and then we've got our simple array of colors. Now you'll notice that with our pets array, we've got an array of collections. You can see first collection, second collection. Then we've got our simple array, and this one doesn't have collections. It just has a numbered list of items within the array. That's because it's a simple array. Now, what we can do once we've passed that JSON is we can then process the lists and separate out each item within that list and do something with it. So for instance, we've got our list of pets, and we want to process that list of pets, and then we want to just aggregate that list of pets. And what we're doing is we're actually dropping the male value from the pets. We're saying, well, we don't want that particular value, so we're just going to create a new array of collections of pets without that male key value pair. It doesn't matter to us, etc. So here's what we had as the input. We've got an array of 2 collections. Then the output, we've got 2 outputs, 2 bundles, and each bundle has its data in it, which means that in between these 2 steps, there's actually 2 bundles of data moving to this aggregation. But because we're using an aggregation, it's going to basically catch each bundle, and then it's only going to return 1 aggregation unless we're grouping it. We'll cover that later. And so what we've got is we've got our input. We can see here we've got our 2 bundles, and we've got Sam and Phil. And our output is the exact same array with 2 collections, except now we've dropped the male key value pair, and we just have the same data without that 1 key value. So that's aggregation. Now, when you're setting up an aggregation, you need to select the correct source module. Source module will most likely be the module that is creating the bundles. So in this case, it's the iterator. And then our data structure, you can edit or add a new data structure here. And when you're creating a data structure, it's pretty similar to what we did with creating the JSON, in that you need to know what are your keys. And in this case, our key is name. And then we need to know, well, what type of data is that we're storing? Is it an array? Is it a collection? Is it a date, a text, a number, a boolean, or binary data? Most of the time it's going to be text or number. Here we've got text, and then you can most of the time just ignore the required multi-line. And so here we've got an array, and this is our collection within the array. And within that collection, we've got a key of name, and that will have a value, which is going to be a text. And then we've got another key of type, and then that will have another value, which will be another text. So the output of that is going to be this here, and if we were to pass that again, pass the output of our string, you'll find that we get the exact same output as what we got here, but it will be missing the male key value pair. There we go. So we get the same output, and in this case we get 2 bundles instead of 1 bundle with an array, because what we actually created here was a array. See, we've got the square brackets, and we've got 2 collections. And so when we passed that, the array was basically red. There was nothing containing that array. Therefore, it just compressed it and flattened it to then show you just the bundles, the items within that array. So that's the data here, and that's kind of a basic introduction to working with parse and aggregate JSON, and also basic introduction to JSON. If you want to learn more about JSON, aggregation, iteration, I do have a course out there that teaches you about that. The link for that will be below this video.